Well, thank you for joining us. This is The Choice on Equa Television International. And in the studio, I have Joyce Dekada and I have Tony Nakali.
I'm happy to be here, believe me.
Yes, we've been looking at the reactions out there, from people that won the election and people that didn't really make it. And from the candidates, some are saying they're...
People that are declared losers.
People... Yes, people that declare they are declared losers.
Because it's glaring that this election, a lot of things happened.
Yes, and then, yes, some of them coming, their followers telling them they are going to challenge the whole process,
Yeah, in court.
So, looking at that, can we say that the 2023 Guba election is a kind of free and fair, looking at, beavers walking, let's say, 80%?
I say Christian, no.
Okay, as a Nigerian.
As a Nigerian, no, as well. But as a broadcaster, perfect. It was free and fair.
Yeah, the reason why I said that, some people are really saying the beavers really work. It really helped, because we see the beavers really reducing the influence of manipulating the result, kind of, because we saw how the results were uploaded like 3-4 hours after the election, a reasonable percentage, some 70-80%, after 4 hours and people said maybe that's the reason why we saw a reasonable jubilation, here and there across the country, because they feel that is how it's supposed to work, during the presidential and then the National Assembly election.
For those that won, it was free and fair. For those that were declared losers, they will tell you the process was
Christian, she's also saying that it wasn't free and fair.
But I think the process was marred by some irregularities that are cut across different places. Like imagine conducting an election with intimidation, with violent attack, people being beaten to death and all of that. That will raise questions. Take, for example, the place that you have eligible voters at 700 and you're having a result of only 300 people, you begin to ask questions, what happened? Because the intimidation actually affected some level of turnout and all of that. But I think to some great extent, again, we can give it to the introduction of the beavers, because for the gubernatorial election, we saw how that report came of people not having any challenge with it. Some people tell you the accreditation and voting didn't even take up to 5 minutes. Like it just peaked and there was no reports about malfunctioning and all of that. And that is why I think people are commending the use of the beavers, because even for places where it seems like the election was rigged, now the party that have been declared losers can resort to court, and when they refer to the beavers, I think they can still get the data you get. So, and I think, like you said, that is why to some extent in some places you are seeing jubilation, because the power of the incumbent did not play out in certain places. That's to tell you that with the beavers, there were some difficulties, even though we still saw that some results were declared, were cancelled over voting and all of that. And if you go by the Electoral Act, the accreditation was meant to help in tracking these issues of overvoting, and we saw it playing out in some places where they had overvoting, the result was cancelled. And no wonder, I think in one of the states, some women were actually... Okay, we have a caller, Reverend Hayab is calling.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, Reverend Hayab. Hello, Reverend Hayab. Good evening.
Hello. How are you?
Good evening, sir. Thank you for calling the show. Uh-oh. Please do well to call us back, sir.
Network. So I think talking about it working to some extent, you can tell in some states that, oh, this actually worked, because the results that were uploaded in real time, people had access to it, and going by the collation, it was in tandem. So that way, but for places where irregularities, intimidations, and all of that, I think most of the candidates will tell you that it is not a reflection of what the Reverend Hayab is back.
Hello, Reverend Hayab.
Hello?
Good evening, and thank you for calling the show. Hello?
I lost the call again.
Okay. Oh, Reverend Hayab is calling from Kaduna or Gombe?
I think Kaduna.
Kaduna.
It should be Kaduna, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's a different Reverend Hayab?
Yeah, possible.
Okay, maybe it's a different Reverend Hayab. Because the Reverend Hayab we know, his name ends with a P. And he's in Kaduna,
Kaduna.
not Gombe. So maybe there's a different Reverend Hayab calling us from Gombe. You know, maybe, just maybe. So, like I said on the show yesterday, a lot of things went wrong. And this issue of results coming late at night, even with the advent of the beavers, what is wrong? What is wrong? How many thousand results are you counting that it would take that long? Because there were places that people were called to say, so number of polling units were cancelled. Later they were called to say, we have resolved that. There are places that were said, we are still waiting for these polling units to bring their results. And I think the integration, because INEC needs to keep improving on the platform where people
This is
are
what I
watching.
wanted to, what do I go ahead to do?
Hello, Reverend Hayab. Hello.
Oh, the network is really...
And you really want to...
He's been calling. So please, control room, make sure we have him clear before you patch him through to the studio. So if you look at the scenario, like in Kaduna yesterday, we were told that there was jubilation. Every street, there was jubilation on every street. People were, excuse me, until the result was announced otherwise. You know, the result was announced otherwise. We are not necessarily bothered about who wins an election in a particular place. But what we are saying is, if the mandate of the people was duly kept or, you know, brought forward, announce it as it is, you know. But if like Nasarawa State, people are still wondering why Nasarawa State, the PDP was leading with a very wide margin, and then collation stopped coming. They stopped collating results, and then suddenly it was announced that results from XYZ places came in, and then the APC governor emerged. On the plateau, we had the same instance, but at the end, the PDP candidate emerged. In Kaduna, we had the same issue. At the end, the APC candidate emerged. In Adamawa, we had the same issue. At the end, the PDP candidate, right? In Adamawa.
Not yet.
It's not yet. Okay, I think it was Taraba.
Yes,
Yes.
Taraba.
It was Taraba.
It's Taraba,
Yes,
sir.
where you are. What's this guy's name? What's this? The
Altanza Ike?
no,
Cornell.
the contestant on PDP.
I think it's the Cornell that emerged him. Let's just quickly
What's
check.
his name?
It's Cornell. The name is...
He's been so popular. People are posting, and then finally I see that he was emerged as the winner of PDP. So why all these delays? Nigerians have every right to ask what was happening.
His name is Kefas Agbo.
Kefas is the Kefas that I want to remember, because the Kefas name is very, very everywhere. It's very everywhere. The question that
In
everybody...
his case, you know, sir, 2 policemen were killed because in the collection center, there was a rowdy session between the police and then the military that leads to the death of 2 policemen in collection center of Taraba. But at the end, the result was announced, you know, in favor of PDP. But we asked, why?
Wow. See, I'm just getting to know this. Yeah. Well, the point is, while you delay without any tangible information passed across, what were you doing? You remember in those days when parents say, where's Joyce? She's in the room alone and she's quiet, she's spoiling something, go and check. And they will go and see that she has removed pomade, she has scattered things in the room, and that's what they used to tell us about her. You know, so that is how it is. When you keep people quiet and you don't have anything to say, for the while, I think Reverend Hayab is calling back. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. He really wants to say something about this. Hello?
Yeah, you.
Yes.
Good evening, sir. It's the network. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, and how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the network. You've been trying to reach us for a while now. Oh my God. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, so how was the situation in Kaduna? We can see that the APC won the election in Kaduna State.
Well, the election in Kaduna was announced by INEC in favor.
Hello?
Said he had.
Say that again. The election in Kaduna was announced how?
I said the election in Kaduna was announced by INEC in favor of the APC candidate.
Okay.
INEC said he pulled 710,000 votes and the PDP candidate pulled 709,000. So there's a difference of 10,804 votes between them. There was confusion yesterday in Kaduna because earlier people had the PDP won, only to hear another result that shows that it was won by APC. The reason for that confusion is simply as at 4 o'clock in the evening, everybody was told that 22 local have sold and they have, but only 1 local government was left. And when the local government result came, it shows that the PDP candidate won in that local government. So people just thought winning that local government is won everywhere. In the tally of votes, they realized but is that really the will of the people? That's the question.
So in your opinion, as an indigene of Kaduna State, what do you think happened in the process?
Things happened. The APC as a political party clearly wanted to make sure that they win by all means. They did everything dirty, everything intimidating, everything blackmailing. Some ECWA members will remember there was a time so many letters were flying with our names. It was deliberately cooked up to divert attention, to distract us from anything that would stop them from winning. But one thing we know is sure that if it is truly that the people give them the mandate, then the mandate will be sweet. But if it is not the mandate of the people, if it is the mandate of manipulation, then you know that it's not going to be sweet. What we have to realize is that when you listen, go back and read the report that was presented by the returning officer yesterday. How could you have presented a report that total people accredited, total accredited voters were 1,400,000 and something? But you had total voters 1,500,000 and something. Where did this some people that error? But I think we will wait to hear what the courts are going to explain with such error.
Okay, so that means that the PDP would challenge the court, the case in court.
Well, I'm not of the PDP, but I believe that the evidence that are so glaring are good enough for them to challenge it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what about the Labour Party in Kaduna? How did they do?
Labour Party thought, because it had over 700,000 votes, the Labour Party had about 50-something thousand votes. But I really don't think I want to speak about the Labour Party, because I, as an individual, the Labour Party candidate, deliberately distorted so many facts about me using my name. I know I never sat with anybody to ask him to step down. I never sat with anybody to say that he's been even discussed to step down. I never had 1 minute discussion about his name. But he was on channel television, he was on Arise television accusing me. He did a world press conference accusing and putting my name. I couldn't even imagine. Which offense did I commit? I was not there when ECWA headers felt that there was a need for us to put our energy in one place, so I did not play any role. But it seems my name was sweet in his mouth for the blackmail, for character assassination. So I leave it to that. I'm a father, I'm a pastor, so I check whatever they said about me as part of life. But it's really quite disappointing that when we have our sons and they will just deliberately cook stories to destroy the image of the church and destroy the image of church leaders just for personal interest, that is not fair. I want one person to come out and say, Reverend Hayam, on so-so date and so-so place, this, I have never, I don't even know the story. All that was said, I don't even have details about it. But all over the news, all over social media, it's like they wanted to use me for blackmail. Unfortunately, I ignored them and I told them I'm not going to talk about it until after election.
But did ECWA sit down as a denomination to present a candidate?
You see, I have no reason to talk about negotiation with the candidate because I don't belong to any political structure. My role simply as a spiritual leader is to tell my people that, look, we need to do what is right so that we'll salvage the situation in Kaduna State. I didn't mention name, I didn't mention party, I just told them what is right. And I allow individuals or the leaders of the various denominations to think what do they think. Just sort of right.
Wow. Well, we're very grateful for...
We had a meeting everywhere. And I can say they had a discerning heart that they could see the handwriting and say, let's do this. But there was no decision. That's why Khan never wrote a letter. Khan never called anybody, never released a press conference about this case. But we were in the hot seat of people who were just busy accusing us for nothing. But as a father, I will say, I forgive them.
Which is what's most important. Thank you very much for taking our time to call us. I think this is a handful of information,
Yeah,
sir.
sure.
We are grateful. Thank you, sir. So you see, from his opening statement, you will notice that it speaks volume. He said INEC declared the APC candidate winner, but that is not the mandate of the people. And if that is the mandate of the people, the leadership would find it very easy. But if it's not the mandate of the people, I'm just paraphrasing now, it will not be very palatable for them. You see, if INEC took a very long time to set out policies and a very brilliant electoral strategy like the one she has right now, what Nigerians are kept in the dark about is what plan did INEC make for implementation? Because it is going to be more important than even the process. Because making sure statements like this don't arise is the sole responsibility of implementation. We just brought something out, we gave the people, and then, okay, see what he said. 1,400,000 and something people totally accredited. 1,500,000 and something people voted. How? See, I was not in Kaduna, but I made statement about some people saying elections were cancelled at various polling units. Later on came and said they have been resolved. These are all issues of very, very unprofessional approach to the setting. And you know, right now we are losing hope. Have we taking cognizance.
We have a caller.
Hello?
I'm enjoying Tony's
Hello, Ben. Good evening. How is Enugu?
huh? Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Ben. How is Enugu?
Fine, Brother Tony.
Yes, sir.
I'm very happy with you.
Okay, should I send my account number? Please make your contribution on the show.
Even when you let Joyce was there, when you let Joyce, I love Joyce, to elect Joyce.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
The way you control the whole thing is very good.
Thank you so much.
Your work is very good. So I thank God. I believe Almighty God will continue to lead you.
Amen. Thank you very much.
With your Solomon and Joyce, the other Joyce.
Yes.
By elect.
Yes.
So try, eh?
Thank you so much.
Very happy with you. I'm enjoying your TV. Every time I enjoy your channel, every time I see your channel, it's your channel I'm watching now, sir.
Thank you so much for the encouragement. But what is happening in Enugu in terms of elections?
Okay. Okay, brother. Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome. Anyway, he just called to appreciate God for the station. But you see, what I'm saying is, this process, you must employ people whose responsibilities are solely to check what you have said, how people are complying with it, and how it will be of results at the end. Because of great results at the end. Because if we say that we voted on Saturday, until now, there are states that have not been announced. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and if it enters 12 midnight today, it will be Tuesday.
Hello, can you hear me?
Where are we bringing the results from? Mr. Abraham, good evening.
I want to contribute to the election of the gubernatorial election in Nasarawa State.
Please go ahead.
My brother was trying to say that one of the challenges that we are having is that INEC have a very good policy, but the way of implementation of it actually is a challenge. It was so very disheartening what we saw in Nasarawa State. Actually, after all the good are done, after when we follow the election, about 8 local governments, which the PDP candidate was leading, all for a sudden, the table has actually been upturned. And one of the things that actually challenges me that I'm just praying that God will help this country is that, for example, you could hear about overvoting, just like the way how my brother was trying to contribute in line with what is happening in Kaduna State. But there is no any person that INEC has ever brought as a country to such kind of a thing. You know, even though we have a very good electoral act that even spell punishment for any hardworking staff who actually breach the conduct of the election, but you could discover that all this will happen, but nobody will say, these are the people who are actually culprits that actually offend the electoral act and let them face the tribunal, let them face the wrath of the law. You discover that people will go ahead and do whatsoever they feel like to do, but there's not any law that will hold these people responsible. I was surprised when they were even presenting the presidential electoral report that a professor is saying that elections were condemned, were cancelled in some polling. What was the reason? If somebody, people went and maybe attacked a polling unit, whose responsibility to provide security for those people? So invariably, those people are directly or indirectly disenfranchised. So these are some of the things that we are hoping that the INEC official or the government of the day should put into practice so much so that nobody will be disenfranchised because of insecurity or whatsoever related to that. Thank you very much. I enjoy your television program. The Lord bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abraham, calling from Nasarawa State. And you know, a lot of issues that people are dissatisfied with INEC. And I think even if federal government, if people are not happy with federal government, INEC would have made Nigerians happy for once that their mandate was rightly given to them. You know, but I cannot imagine myself as an as the election is credible. Honestly, if you are talking about credibility, with the advent of the beavers and all of that, you can give INEC that. But what we are saying is, and I know that we cannot get it 100% from the beginning, but what we are saying is, these little loopholes that we have in our process, electoral processes, how can these things be corrected? How can they be killed completely? Because this guy is talking about the culprits not being punished. Yet you have about 40% of Nigerians complaining about the system. What are you doing to investigate based on these complaints, to bring people, to book? Mr. Kelvin, good evening. How is Enugu today?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on, please.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
I believe you can hear me.
Yes,
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
All right. I'm really enjoying your program. I think Madam Joyce or Miss Joyce, Solomon, and I can't remember your name, but I am always listening to your contribution. But
Go ahead, Mr. Kelvin.
I want to commend you all for your good job.
Thank you
and
so much.
Effort. You may not know what you are doing to this country. I mean, the good you are doing to the country, but I believe that your effort is doing a great help to the entire country as a nation. You see, in this life, there are something I have observed that I want to comment on. I don't know if I should go ahead.
Please go ahead, as long as nobody will be insulted.
Okay. What I've observed is this. You know, the scripture says in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 11, because the sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. What am I trying to say? You know, starting looking at what happened during the presidential election, when we have the presidential election and the House of Senate and the Assembly, the Rep, sorry. There's something I observe. You know, almost every person knows that the same beaver that was used to announce the result of the Reps and the Senate is also the same beaver that was used, to transmit the result to the state. And the same beaver is what they use to transmit or upload the result of the president, for the presidency. And then coming back to notice at the end that the result that was uploaded for the Senate and the Rep was okay, while the one of the presidential candidates, there was fault there. And then we have been told that in this second time, the one that took place on the 18th, there's going to be some correction and some things that will be amended or will be corrected for things to move well. But now, when it comes to the presidential candidates, there was network issue. Now, if we look at things like this, when the same beaver that you used to upload this result to state is the same beavers that you are using to upload the same presidential result. Why not take what we have in the state, if they have sent this information to the state, to check that when it fell, taking it from state to the national? Why not come back to the state to still get this information? Because I believe all this result was sent at the same time. Now, what I'm trying to say, like where I quote in the scripture, if we in this country are seeing things going wrong, just like the person that spoke last said, and there's no way that any law can hold any person who is doing a mistake or who is causing problem in the system, that will say, okay, this person who makes this thing to be like this will face a punishment like this. Like in industrial revolution, for instance, where you see a superintendent giving a job, issue a drawing to execute a job, and a supervisor, a foreman, made a mistake or did something wrong that caused problem at the time they are executing this job, you will discover that the superintendent will be punished, either sacked from that job or demoted. In fact, he will face some kind of punishment because of that. But in
Quickly, Mr. Kevin, you need to round up.
A lot of things going on in this election, even where a senior man, hello?
Please round up, round up, round up.
Okay, where the senior men who are, okay. Now, what I'm saying is that we discover that a lot of things is going wrong, but this time we need to find a mitigating measure whereby somebody who default will be punished or replaced, so that people who are given chance to be on that seat will take correction. Thank you very much for your good work.
Very grateful, Mr. Kevin. Yeah, the time is fast spent, and if we have contributions, I don't think we need to respond to that. It's self-explanatory, you know, and the time is up on the show. But tomorrow we will come back with lots of updates on the show if Jesus does not return. So, Mr. Solomon Sambo, back to I've given you your show back.
All right, Joyce, you have anything to say? Before we go for now, okay.
She has been praised on the show, so she's cool.
Yeah.
We've said everything, so let's remain calm. I think that's what is more important as we are anticipating, and
More results.
I think it's important that we remain calm.
All right. For the viewer out there, we sincerely want to appreciate you for choosing Ekwa Television and for believing in what we are doing. And we're saying by tomorrow, more updates will come your way on The Choice. Thank you so much and remain blessed.